As I suspected, 32 flavors.
Well. Welcome back. And we have another comic book review. And this time, rejoining me is Mr. Ironcaster. Last time you saw us, we were talking Conan the Barbarian #1 from Titan Comic. How are you, sir?
Oh, I am doing just fantastic. In fact, look, I finally got to read one of the comic books I've been looking forward to for this year. It's finally here. I've got one more reason to go back to the comic shops to kind of cut to the chase.
Oh yeah, no, this is a big deal because I remember when we talked about this on the Com Shop talk a few months ago. Like, holy crap, there was this big announcement, and it came as a very big spoiler because we knew Kirkman was doing this book called Void Rivals, but no one knew it was be connected to the Transformers until like the news got out later that day of that #1, where there was a spoiler page at the end, which luckily I was able to snag a copy. But I remember we were all talking about it on the show, like, holy crap, they're doing another Transformers GI Joe shared universe. Again, this time it's obviously under Kirkman's imprint. This could actually be really cool because he's got obviously Dan Johnson doing Transformers. He's got Larry Hama doing GI Joe, starting with number 301, traditional legacy numbering, and a few other books. He's got Joshua Williamson, which we'll get to later. So it's just like, holy crap, this could be the start of something really exciting here. I like how this sounds at face value. So because of one of those comics we're going to be talking about, that would be Transformers #1. And this is the first issue of what is said to be an ongoing series, which is surprising because Dan Johnson is notorious for doing limited series. He has his creator own work, Extremity, Murder Falcon, Dual Power Bomb, and he did Wonder Woman Dead Earth for the Black Label side, DC, Beta Ray Bill for Marvel, all limited series. So I'm like, so is this going to be his first book where he's actually sticking around, or is he going to be doing an arc? I don't know, but either way, it's been building an ongoing series, and I really hope that he definitely sticks around for this one because his love of the Transformer shows, and consistently, it's another book that he's not only writing, but he's doing the pencils, and he's got his friend and colleague Mike Spicer doing the colors, like he has done on all the previous books I just mentioned. So yeah, and this is me coming at it. I'm coming from the Dan Johnson perspective, whereas my friend Casser, he really knows his Transformers. He has been wanting me to get started Transformers, and I think the stars have aligned. The astronomy has slanted our way, and we're like, okay, I guess now's a good time as ever to really try to dive into some big bad robots. So you know what? Tell us about this story.
Yeah, so this is kind of in many ways a sort of take on the kind of that original G1 sort of the original, I should say, the original 80s cartoon origin with this big giant ship in the side of a mountain with these robots all unconscious for who knows how many years and years, centuries, millennia, etc. have they been here? We're not exactly sure. And the thing I do like with this is they wind up making little changes in there that will keep me guessing on my feet. Like, there were things in there that I was not expecting at all. Like, I was setting up I was turning that page and getting to see like the next little bit of it, and then like, oh, someone gets blasted in the face. You're like, oh, like I don't even want to say who it is. Because like you'll never.
Yeah, I saw them. Like, is this a bait and switch? I want to know because of that. We'll get to it in the spoilers, but I saw him like, hold up, you're doing that already. This has to be a trick. This has to be a trick. Yeah, that had me thinking, man. I'm like, this is the first damn issue, and this is where we're going.
Yeah, spoilers. Randy the Beast Wars warthog with gold plastic syndrome gets blasted in the face. Boy, is that a deep cut for you.
I am aware of the Beast Wars line, so that's cool to know that they have acknowledgement to that. I'm not familiar with it.
No, I'm
Oh, you're
throwing.
joking.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Oh, he got me. See, this remind me about Transformers Normie here. Super duper Normie. But carry on. Story was.
A couple little things I did kind of like going into this is the fact that of all the characters not in the book, there's no Megatron.
No, we did not get Megatron. We did not, and I actually do know who that is. So yeah, I thought maybe he's being built up for something. That's what I thought. Dan and company do not want to blow their wad. I mean, this is the start of a shared universe, yet another shared universe. If we're being honest with each other, because this is not the first one of a Transformers GI Joe in the history of ever. It's been done before. So yeah, maybe there's a great plan being set up for that character. We'll
Uh,
see.
so to talk just a little bit about some of the other characters around it, we of course have sort of the iconic human of the franchise in this character of Spike Witwicky, who is sort of our kind of normal human protagonist going into this, which in a way is very much you, Nick, because you're going into this, you're just seeing all these big robots, and you're like, you don't know anything about them. You're like, whereas I'm looking at this like I'm coming into it as Jetfire did.
Oh, I could see
Yes.
that perspective. Wow. You're right. I do kind of vicariously live through Spike in this book because just like, hold up, what's going on here? What are these big robots? Okay, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm assuming that guy must be the good guy. I think he kind of needs my help. And I'm gonna try to do something about it, even though I'm just this little shrimp. Yeah, you're right. I can totally see that now from that normie perspective. Wow.
Yeah, that I thought that was a really interesting thing, especially for you and I to be able to sit down and kind of look at this.
Hmm.
That there is sort of that perspective character for each of us to go into this book,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
I look across that beautiful like preview page we got of all the bots like just laying dormant on the board on board of the ship, and I'm looking around like I know him, I know him, I know him.
You had
I've
to
got
have
that
had a
one,
field
that
day
one,
seeing the layouts then of all this. You had to have loved seeing just the layouts of all this. Like, oh, okay, this is where we're going here.
and this I think works well for kind of it's throwing you into the deep end.
Mhm.
Like our human hasn't even like really gotten a chance to know who they all are. It's just he's thrown into the deep end here, into the middle of this war that's being kind of revived, and he's now effectively being forced to pick a side on, and hopefully he picks right.
Yeah, I hope so too. I mean, Spike does seem like the kid who's got good intentions. Obviously, we got some hints that obviously there was some tragedy, but we don't know obviously the context of the tragedy. But we know he's got a girlfriend that seems like they get along very well. And well, an accident happened, and it brought them to all this mayhem and stuff. So yeah, I really hope that he does choose the right side because it seems like whatever is going down between these robots, it seems like it's going to be something absolutely mega. And what we got out here was mega just with the first issue. And in classic DWJ fashion, you get a lot of action. This is a very big thing with him is action. Action is a thing he has to have. It's almost like a DWJ playbook. He's got to have action in his issues, and he definitely brings it. You were right when you say you just kind of get right into it. So my guess is he's gonna get right into it, and then there's gonna be those moments later on where he's gonna build the more character work aspect. But right now he's just grabbing you by the neck and saying, "All right, buckle up, we're going in." And you just it's immediate. This is a very immediate book. This is not drag you. This is not take a drag with you. This is no. We're going speeding now.
Yeah, it's you have this group of Autobots, all basically all uh these potential soldiers crammed into the back of this semi trailer that we can potentially bring in later. So you have this element introduced now where within the next couple of issues we can further expand out the roster. So we have a means to potentially uh, wake up new soldiers for this war to come in, and both sides can effectively do this.
Oh
So
man, we're gonna get lots of robots.
because oh my gosh, like at the very end of this book, Starscream running around being Starscream.
Mhm. Oh, that was a great ending. That was a great ending. Yeah, seeing that had me excited. I'm like, okay, you gave me the hook, man. You gave me the hook, and now I'm latching on. I'm not getting off this ride. This is a Raging Bull Six Flags style of comics. This is the Raging Bull. That's what this one is. And you know what? That's fine, man. I'm ready to buckle up. it seems like this is gonna be an absolute slobber knocker of an Attitude Era, no, battle royale, but with robots. And you know what? As a normie, I'm ready to get into some action. Let me dive into those big battles first. Let me really just invest in all the crazy. I love it because for me, I'm like, okay, I'm getting the names of these. All right, a few quick. Okay, actually, I can actually follow the story. So this actually is new reader friendly if you're not familiar with these robots. So as a normie, I'm like, okay, I totally follow what's going on here. I don't feel the least bit lost, even though it doesn't feel like the first story ever from the Transformers. It almost feels like a continuation of sorts. It doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a number one in the sense that it's the first story ever. It feels like it's just a number one just for people to have a new jumping on point. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly what this is going to. This is exactly what this works for. This is, like I was saying, this is a book that is going to be familiar to people who have been, say, decades long fans from those G1 days, from the days of the Beast Wars, even like kind of the movie fans, where there's be enough familiarity to them where they might know a couple of names, but then they also will change things up just a little bit to kind of remind you that no one's ever quite safe here. It is a war, and there can and will be casualties on both sides of this thing as time goes on. It's but it also works in a way to drop you in, because this is supposed to be a war that's gone on for millennia. There, we're not coming to this from the perspective of how does the war begin. No, this is like you're being dropped into the middle of like WW2, and we've been in France for like 6 months.
I'd say that is a very accurate depiction. So it sounds like, okay, you're obviously, once again, you're the Transformers guy. It sounds like this story gave you enough to really invest into and to dive in and to look forward to, and you're actually genuinely interested. So am I hearing that correctly? You are definitely curious on what's to come next month from the Transformers. Does this feel like, okay, they got me and I'm here for this ride? Where are you at? Because this story for me, like I say, it's a just grab you by the throat and just go for it, and we'll go learn more exposition later. But I'm here for what's going on. So for me, it is very straightforward. But I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah, no, I had forgotten to put this on my pull list initially,
Mhm.
but picking this up today, I made sure to put it on my pull list, and for the moment, it's going to remain on there.
Same. I write it runs after fish is like, okay, this is an easy decision. Okay, awesome. Now, before I ask for your thoughts. For me, looking at the art here, this is very super signature Dan Johnson. I look at this, I'm like, I recognize the style. It's definitely him. I've noticed it. He's got Mike Spicer doing the colors as he usually does. So I see this definitely as a DWJ book as far as the visuals look. But when I look at the Transformers, they all look absolutely recognizable. Like one by one, you can identify who's really quick. Now, did you get a Transformers book first out of the art when you looked at, or did you see a DWJ book? What did you get out of that?
I mean, the art does stand out to me as kind of being different. I was kind of used to some of the really more highly detailed uh designs that IDW had brought to their books, and coming to this has an almost kind of graffiti kind of vibe to the art that
Mhm, mhm.
at first I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be good, but I'm in.
All right. You heard it here, guys. All right. So, all right, let's get into some of our spoilers here. So, let's talk about that possible, maybe, is it not, death with a certain character that starts with a, bu- a B, a Bumblebee.
Oh,
Dude, you want to talk about and see, I gotta give credit to Dan and Mike for this because they really made Optimus's expressions of a robot look like a human that is feeling sorrow. And I'm like, dude, you did that with robots, man. All of a sudden, like I feel like I feel the hurt for the robots. We're just human beings, so masterfully played, even for someone who knows nothing to see that, like, damn, dude, you gave me a. It's kind of like when you see like a sad dog. Like you may not be one of them, but you feel that sadness and hurt for them. That's what I got out of that.
Yeah. Bumblebee is one of these characters that is been with the franchise since the beginning. Like he basically he was kind of on that level, like even back in the 80s, where he was that like kind of second that kind of always kind of with the human character along for the adventures. He almost in a way became sort of as much of a protagonist for the kind of franchise as like Optimus did, even sort of in those G1 days. And that's the point where he's now become basically the primary Autobot protagonist of even like the Michael Bay movies, to the point where he had his own film.
Yeah, the Bumblebee flick with John Cena. Yeah.
And I should have known something was up when we got those initial previews and we saw the Autobot lineup. And, you know, at first there's the silhouette of just a little Autobot down there. And you're like, yeah, it's all totally going to be Bumblebee. And it's like, when they revealed it's Cliff Jumper. Because Transformers is a franchise which is famous for recycling a toy mold. So you'll get the same character in blue and red and purple. I mean, three of the Decepticons in this book are effectively the same design. We got Thundercracker, Skywarp, and Starscream.
Good.
And seeing Bumblebee blasted like he was suggests to me, looking forward, if we do get him back, because Optimus Prime is like robot Jesus who keeps coming back to life. I fully expect Bumblebee to make a return, and much like from the Michael Bay films, he'll be brought back with that inability to speak like he was there. So you'll see them kind of playing in something like that. That's my prediction.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm curious to see where that's gonna go, because that kind of had me like, bro, we just started, man. let me breathe a little with this one. But okay, let's see where that goes. So for me, what I got out of this is Dan likes to put in little nods and nuggets, whether it's the things he's influenced by or things that are nods to his past work. Like for example, in Do a Powerbomb, he had a character from one of his previous creator-owned books, and that's a wrestling book, might I add, Do a Powerbomb.
Okay.
And he had one of the characters from his previous creator book in the crowd during the wrestling match, one of the wrestling matches in Do a Powerbomb. And in this book, we obviously see that Optimus has a very wrestling-like way of how he handles his opponents. You see with the clothesline he does and the suplex he does. I'm like, that has to be a nod to Do a Powerbomb, because Dan Johnson is a mega wrestling fan. And the fact that he did a wrestling miniseries titled Do a Powerbomb, I'm like, dude, come on. That has to be hidden saying, okay, I'm going to put, this is where I put a sliver of myself in there. And you know, I can roll that. I mean, the idea of having robots go at it in Spike's world is already ridiculous and crazy. I'm all about it, man. It's almost like 80s action movie where it's just like, okay, this is totally not realistic, but who cares? Have fun with it. Go for it. And I was up and cheering for seeing this. I was like, this is why I get into comics, because I don't need everything to be rooted in the world that I live in. I want to see a world where robots suplex each other. So this is definitely by far and large one of my favorite panels in the entire book, period. Can we also mention how about that van we saw that Spike's girlfriend had done? That was a pretty awesome van. Kind of remind me of like an album cover from Manowar or something. I'm like, okay, is that him trying to put a little bit of his Murder Falcon influence? I don't think so. I only say it because once again, it looks like a bit like a Manowar cover, and Murder Falcon was very heavy metal based in that regard. So it definitely makes me wonder. But dude, come on. Even if it's not I think let's just say that's just its own thing for this book. that is a killer. That is a very killer look right there.
I think that's ultimately gonna be the score of this book. This book is a Wizard Van out of 5.
Oh, I just realized with Spike, he kind of has a Marty McFly look with the life preserver jacket. He
Yeah.
has a Marty McFly look, dude. Once again, that could be coincidence, but I thought about McFly because I read this twice, and the second reading, I'm like, man, he kind of looks like McFly. Okay, McFly, what's going on here? And the fact I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm down for the Marty McFly look for Spike. I'm down for it. So, and I'm curious to see what's to become of his dad with that ending. We don't have to show that ending off, but let's just say that ending. Oh man, that is. Oh boy,
We have the battle of the bots has now come to Earth.
yes.
I
Oh,
can't wait to
yes.
see where this is going to go next.
Oh, dude, I can't wait. Yeah, we'll definitely be, whether it's here on doing individual reviews or comic shop talk, we definitely have at least a comic between this and Conan, where we talk about every month now. And that's a damn good feeling to have. Damn good feeling to have. So let's talk about those previews at the end, man. We had obviously we all know that Void Rivals is now been going for 3 or 4 months now. So that's now a thing, and now Transformers is out. But we also have G.I. Joe Larry Hama, we have Cobra Commander, and Duke, both written by Joshua Williamson, who did The Flash during the 2016 Rebirth run, which I actually really enjoyed. So I'm like, okay, Joshua Williamson, I know he writes, and I know he actually understands and embraces the hell of continuity. Because I swear, I think he read every Flash book when he did the Flash run, because there's elements of all the eras brought into a source. So it feels like everything in the run counted. So I do trust in Williamson to make continuity count with everything. The fact that he's doing these character books too, not like a team book, like which is what Larry Hama is doing. I'm optimistic about this. Seems like he's got the right writers, the right artists, just the right people involved in general. And I'm really digging that Cobra Commander cover, especially once again, like the Transformers. I've never really paid attention much to G.I. Joe in my life. I had friends who had the toys. I thought they looked cool. Now I knew people watched the cartoons, but I'm like, is this where I'm at in my life? At 36 years old, I'm finally now gonna become a G.I. Joe Transformers guy. Okay. And I like that Jordy Belair is doing colors on Duke. I've always been a fan of Jordy Belair on colors. So that alone gets a point in my book.
Like I think we're gonna be good in for like a good winter, like that kind of post Christmas. We're gonna get like the Duke book, coming right off of Christmas. It'll be a late Christmas gift, folks.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be able to pick this up and kind of go into the new year with like yelling "Yo Joe," and then once January comes around, you'll be getting the GI or the Transformers book at the start of the month, and then about 2 weeks later, you'll be yelling "Cobra."
Oh, that excites me. Oh,
One of the little things I'm just kind of noticing now, because I had overlooked it at first. Behind Duke and behind Cobra are 2 Transformers.
oh no!
At least
Wow.
that's what I'm assuming, because yeah, the Joes kind of have their F-35s or their jets,
Mm-hmm.
but Starscream is also around, and we know these are supposed to be connected. And considering that is the arc behind, that is the ship that we saw them all fighting in this issue,
Mm-hmm.
I'm led to believe that's Starscream that we're going to see this coming in now. We're going to see kind of GI Joe dealing with all this kind of robot transformer stuff from space,
Mm-hmm.
as well as trying to deal with the humans that are maybe taking advantage of some of this to try to take over the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we're gonna have an action-packed filled few months. That's what I'm seeing here. And you know what? Let's get excited, man. This makes me happy, and This is how you leave a preview page at the end. You say, hey, if you enjoy this book, oh, you're far from finished. Get ready to invest in this universe so much more. You know what? I, at the minimum, want to check out all of these books just to see what are they cooking. I want to see what all the flavors are coming from the Energon universe. So
But
Kirkman and
before all
crew,
this,
you got me. What? Oh, the Void Rivals. Show it
well,
off.
actually, we got two other things to show off
Ooh.
because
Ooh.
with
Oh, yeah. G.I. Joe.
Mhm.
Yeah. Show it
because
off.
in this same vein, of course, we have a legend of the Joes coming back as well
Mm-hmm.
in Larry Hama.
Yes. Yes. And this is also done in traditional legacy numbering. This will start at issue 301, even though it's technically the first issue of this current run going on. The fact that he's got this going on with the regular numbering, and this is middle of next month. So that's you got a legend involved with the writing. I definitely recognize Chris Mooneyham. I'm definitely aware of them, and the fact that they got Andy Kuber to do art on the covers is cool too. So I'm like, okay, this seems like this is going to be a home run right here at the very minimum. At least worth checking out. At the least.
Like G.I. Joe was always one of those books I had always kind of overlooked. Like I had read a couple issues here or there, but I want to get into it more. Like I'm at a point now where I want to kind of go back. I want to jump into this. I think I'm gonna have to start reading this with 301.
All it took was for them to be paired with a bunch of big bad robots, man. And now look at now they got you. See, the hook is real, guys. The hook is damn real. Yeah, I've been gotten. Seems like you've been gotten as well. And you know what? Wouldn't have it any other way. Well then, do we got one more cover to show,
Yep. We
or
have
was
we
it?
have technically like 2 or 3 covers here.
Oh, yeah, because we got the peak for Transformers #2, which is next month, and then you see what's going on here with Void Rivals because you got the later issue coming out later this month, and what already has come out with Void Rivals. So, guys, this universe is already underway, and we didn't even know. You want to talk about a blending in and then dropping the bomb? If you're one of those lucky ones who got the first issue, first print, of course, now because I think it's like 3 printings now. I could be wrong. Yeah, it's clear that that book became a hot book, and all it took is for that random Optimus Prime spoiler at the very end. Damn it, Kirkman, you got me. It seems like this is going to be his focus. I know he's wrapping up his current book, Firepower, which ends in December. So I feel like this is going to be his main focus for the years to come, per se. So well done, DWJ and Mike, and to Kirkman and the crew. I wish you guys all the best with this. So overall, does this get a recommend from the Ironcaster?
Why, yes, sir. This is getting that Wizard van out of 5.
Oh, the Wizard Van out of 5. Well, this is gonna get about. I'm gonna give it 8.5 German suplexes that Brock Lesnar wishes he could rival. 8.5 German suplexes. So no, Brock Lesnar, you ain't Suplex City, bitch. I am. Go buy Transformers #1, folks. Do you have anything you want to plug on the way out, Caster?
Let's see. Not at the moment. No. Actually, we'll be on with Pops on Tuesday for Talk Hard, where we will be sitting down to review Beetlejuice.
Ooh, good movie. I like the sound of that. Hell yeah,
It's that
man.
time of year.
Shout out to Pops. Great channel, great guy. Well, you and I, obviously, we have Comic Shop Talk Friday night, and that's gonna be great. And you, the viewer, are watching this video, and you can expect more comic book news and commentary. Well, whenever I get around to having a chance to talk about them. So thanks for watching our review and thoughts on Transformers #1. And lay down your souls to the gods, rock and roll.
The cream of the crop!